Hey, everyone. I hope everyone is doing great. Hope you're in good spirits. I hope that the week brings you much love, closeness, connections. This is the week that of Christmas. And while I'm not one to, put a lot of emphasis on the washed up celebration of Christmas, I do hope that the holidays bring about some closure and connectiveness with your loved ones and friends. And it gives you a spark of happiness, joy, and life. Today is a little gloomy. It's a little cloudy outside, but I really love these types of days because these are the days I really don't want to go anywhere and I really don't want to do anything. But this is a space of just like peace. And so I find myself, cleaning up a little bit or just in my thinking mood. And I really hope that today's episode will be informative and put you at ease. So for today's episode, I want to discuss the process of personal rebirth, what that looks like, what it feels like, and how it may manifest in our personal lives. Many of us are experiencing or in the process have experienced a rebirth, and this is an innate shift in our being that pushes us to cycle into a new place of self-discovery. A rebirth may be a result of personal tragedy, an awakening, or an exhausted period of living that has forced us to surrender. Rebirth is a beautiful change because we subconsciously do away with past patterns, old habits, old ways of thinking, and move our lives into discovery and feelings of freedom. It can be a smooth or easy transition, but it always prepares us for what we need in the new shift of our lives. I believe that wisdom and maturity is tied into our forthcoming decision to rebirth. Understand, though, that this transition will appear jaded, incongruent, and different for those who knew you before. This change will bring you closer or interrupt the connections that you have with people. It is unfortunate that this transition will bring about changes, but like all things, it makes us appreciate and acknowledge the seasons in our lives. And I want to say this, and I want to say this boldly to every single person that is listening. Do not apologize for how you show up, because apologizing means that you owe others explanations for why you are. It means that they have the liberty and assign seats at your personal decision-making seminars with yourself. You owe no one anything at all. Rebirth, it may bring out a more vocal you and isolated you for a moment, a more valued and appreciated and goal-oriented you. It may bring you closer to your goals, assist you in dealing with your vices, moving towards acceptance, and authorizing your healing. Rebirth definitely looks a little different for each individual person. The look of it is dependent on what you have experienced and what you have conquered. It's dependent on what you're still carrying and what you're still fighting with. But the transition is there to surrender into a life that is better than your past. It will take some moments to process, some hard decisions to make, and time spent on nurturing a better you. A rebirth looks like a lighter, renewed, peaceful, intentional, and an altered version of you. Your glow may confuse people. Their way of reading you may seem a little complicated. Your mental transition will translate into your physical transition, and you'll begin to see yourself differently. What once was your regular routine in life is substituted with intentional duties of enjoyment and discoveries that your old self could never, ever fathom. you'll begin to define your own beautiful you, and you'll discover that this new you is suitable. Rebirth will hold you accountable, showing up in ways that is intentional, meaning that you value your settings and you choose to deliver accordingly. Rebirth puts your mind at a different frame. Your way of thinking is permanently altered. And going back to what I said before, the things that brought you happiness, or maybe you felt contentment in, the rebirth brings you to a place where it's almost like everything before that is erased, and you have a renewed mind and a renewed spirit. And so you move about differently. And the feeling of losing out on so many past things that were connected by like people or events, maybe things that you used to, go to, or places you used to hang out. There is a place of isolation. But once you bridge over and you go over the hump, you realize that the rebirth is exactly what you needed. I think a lot of us, and even if, there are some younger listeners, you will get to a place in your life where you don't choose to be in a stagnant form anymore. And it's usually at those moments where you have a place of stagnancy that things begin to happen. And you are moving into a place where it seems dull and awkward to you now. And so rebirth really is what is needed. I want you to take a minute and process just the idea of us always staying at a place of what we've always known. If you've always done the same thing over and over, gone to the same places, been around the same people, do you have space to grow? Do you have space for self-discovery? And do you have space to navigate differently? And the answer to those questions is no. Because not changing means that you are not learning and you are not benefiting from the ups and downs and the transitions of life. And a rebirth is essentially a resetting of your life with intention and moving you to a place where there is beauty at the end of this long phase and long road. I invite you to experience the rebirth. And if you are in the transition, and I know, again, sometimes it feels very lonely. If you are in that place, believe me when I say that when you come out of it, you will appreciate not only the surroundings, but yourself more. If you have come out of it, you know exactly how I'm explaining this, and you are very connected to how this feels. And if you are leaning towards that transition where it feels like, yeah, I'm about to do a rebirth, don't be afraid. I just know that anybody who has come out of a great change has always said that it was what they needed, because again, it is a reset, and it will look different for everybody based on what your past situation or issues or whatever you are fighting and dealing with. But you come out more wise, more mature, and more informational about, number one, who you are, how you are, your surroundings, your connections with people, and just things that you want to do in this lifetime until, that day ceases. I hope that, the message of rebirth was one that you needed. I hope that it gave you a sense of peace, not fear at all, because, again, if we're staying stagnant, we're not learning, we're not moving, we're not growing, and we are not enveloping into the greatest person that we could possibly be. There will be some lost connections. There will be some parts of yourself that you've never seen before. There will be moments when, you want to go back to that state of being that you once were. But once you come out of it, you realize that the rebirth is definitely what you needed. And sometimes it is best that we lose many parts of ourselves to see the greatest in ourselves. I'm so happy that you're here. I'm so happy that you tuned in. Make sure you tap in. And also, I want to thank you for, tuning in and listening. You really don't know how much that means to me. I've been getting some feedback from people on social media, and I've been seeing the ratings and comments, and y'all, I love it. I am very open also to constructive criticism. I feel like constructive criticism helps us grow. So if there's a topic or anything you want to hear on the podcast, definitely hit me up. And with that, I have no more. I hope that your day is great. If it's not doing, good, I hope that it's going to get better for you. And I will see you on the next episode.